Hello, everyone. Rick here, and this is the When We Were Kids, a Time Capsule Toys podcast. Brought to you by Time Capsule Toys in Toy Ohio that returns October 12th. So we are here with my good friend Rob Craig. Rob, I've known for I think like 5 years now.
Yeah, well, yeah, right around pre-pandemic. So
Yeah,
2019.
So yeah.
So
5 years.
5 years.
So we're here with him. He is a co-promoter for the Butler Area Toy Show, which we will get into all that soon. But we are here to shed some light on some nostalgia and our childhood.
Yep.
So I have a list of. I'm trying to do everything like kind of different each episode, but then mix in some of the other things I liked from previous episodes.
Okay.
So we're gonna start off with growing up. What was your like main go-to toys growing up?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 100%, no doubt about it. I do remember some stuff pre-Turtles, but never anything substantial. One or two things here and there, like I had one Centurion, I had Ace McCloud. I had a couple of Transformers, Matchbox cars, but nothing that really was like I had to have it until Turtles.
Until Turtles.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your first turtle was?
Yeah. My funniest story about becoming a turtle collector, I guess you could say. I was scheduled to go or invited to a birthday party in third grade, and I had to go get a gift for my friend Jack. I'll never forget it. I know where his house is. It's the gateway to Turtles. I picked up a original 10-back Raphael at Kmart in Butler, Pennsylvania, and I thought it was so cool. I didn't really know what Turtles was until then. It was like just brand new. 10-back, so obviously.
Yeah.
I thought that toy was so cool that I pretended to be sick so I didn't have to go to the birthday party and got to keep the toy. I mean, that was it. I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't give you your birthday present. I knew him all the way through high school, too. I've told him this story before. But, yeah, that was the first one.
That's so funny. So Raphael is the one that kickstarted it all.
Yep.
And made you miss good old Jack's birthday party.
Jack's birthday party. Yep, that's right.
That's funny. So for a lot of us growing up is the nostalgia of like Christmas time. Because Christmas now is completely different than when we were kids.
Right.
Christmas now is like very commercialized and everything else. Christmas when we were kids, it was like an actual event.
Oh, yeah.
Like you weren't allowed to open up anything until your parents turned on the video camera that recorded straight to VHS,
right.
All that stuff, because that's how it was in my house. So
Yep.
Meanwhile, like for us, we had to wait till my mom made coffee. My dad set up the video camera, which I don't know why my dad set up the video camera. He never watched the stuff. Like he would just hit play or record and like walk away. And so in the meantime, one of the things I would do as a kid I'd line up my gifts of like what I want to open first to last. So I'd always start with the smallest and work my way to the biggest. So is there a certain, like when you were a kid, what was your guys' like Christmas morning routine?
So pretty similar. We never videotaped or anything like that, but I have two older sisters. So it was a 10-year age gap from my oldest sister to me, and then my other sister's 8 years older. So I was like the last chance for the boy for my parents, but very similar. Like my dad had to have coffee. We all had to be awake. We all had to be ready to go, and we was one at a time that you got to open a present. So somebody played Santa. Somebody gave out the presents. Still, I mean, that's actually something that we still do to this day with my nephew and my son. Is somebody is assigned of giving out presents. So, it was almost like added anticipation because you could see it all right there, but you weren't allowed to like go touch it or shake it or anything like that. We were never allowed to do that. There was no opening one on Christmas Eve. We went to my aunt's on Christmas Eve, so we would exchange those type of gifts, which, I'd end up with a toy or something like that. But that's really like what I talked about before Turtles. That's where you'd get them. Like somebody just be like, "Oh, this must be cool for kids," and they'd give it, give that as a gift. The gateway toys, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think it was more my parents building that anticipation, but making sure everybody was around. We opened the gifts one at a time, so everybody could see what it was too. So we still do that, which is time consuming. When you just want to rip everything open, you see that in the movies and stuff, kids just plowing through wrapping paper. That was not my household at all.
That's funny. So what, do you remember the best Christmas you ever had?
Yes. Yeah. It was actually also, spoiler alert, if you're under the age of 10, tune out for a second. I found my Christmas presents that year, pre-Christmas. And I saw them all in a pile and, kind of ruined the, everything.
Yeah.
But I still was excited because it was like a mountain of turtles. It was a mountain of turtles. And the first thing on top was Sewer Surfer and Mike, which became, and to this day still is, my favorite part of the line is Sewer Surfer. It's been remade and things like that, but I don't pass one up. I collect that one. It was a bunch. It was a bunch of stuff. That was like the pinnacle of the collecting of turtles. They were putting the TMNT on everything: lunchboxes, play shave kits, all that kind of stuff. I must have got 10 or 15 figures, plus vehicles and things like that. Clothes. It was like the turtle Christmas. But the thing that sticks out to me the most is, under the stairs, pre-Christmas, seeing the Sewer Surfer sit there. But it was still, cool. I remember the Christmas before that, too, because it was very early on in the Turtles' popularity, and there was, like, one, and I was disappointed. There was that disappointing Christmas where you expected more and didn't get it. So it was like, I don't know whether my parents knew that and made up for it the next year, but, yeah, that's the one I'll never forget, for sure.
So you may have just answered my next question was, do you remember your worst Christmas?
That wasn't the worst Christmas. I was the most disappointed that Christmas. I would say it's almost like, I would say it's a double-edged sword. Worst and maybe even one of the more memorable ones was before that. I didn't get much, but I got a plastic race car. So it was made by Gay Toys. And
I remember that.
And I know this is probably, preempting maybe a Grail question later, but I had a Skull Bandit race car on its car hauler in the box, but that was like the only thing that I got. And so at the time, great, fantastic. But then you go to school and you see all these people, I got this, and this. And that was really the only thing that I got. So I guess that was like kind of, I don't know. I wouldn't call it worst, but, lowest ranked, we'll call it.
As a kid, in last week's episode, I told one of my stories about the worst Christmas I ever had, where I got a Magic set, and I returned it to get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Oh.
But, like, every Christmas, I always got, like, dumb stuff that, like, I didn't want. But we're going to be doing a little segment called the Wish Book, the Wish Book Wishes, and because I recently just found a Sears Wish Book, and in here actually unlocked a memory for me. I didn't mark it because I just now remembered it.
Okay.
My Aunt Donna, who passed away many years ago, she's the real reason why I have like sentimental attachments to certain toys. In this, I discovered that's where she got my comic box that I got the one year from her. They had like Wolverine and Captain America on it.
Okay.
You would order it from here and it had like 25 comics in it or something like that. But I was like, holy crap. So that like unlocked a Christmas memory for me. But I marked certain pages in here.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about the nostalgia of things. First part of nostalgia I'm going to talk about, and from back when we were kids is something I completely forgot about. Literally until this morning when I flipped through this and saw this. There were these hats that were drawstring.
Oh, I remember those hats.
If Scott Moran, if you're watching this, I was still envious of your Detroit Lions hat from like 5th grade that you had.
I had a Miami Hurricanes hat. There was another version of them too. I don't know if they're in there, but they were on the front. The logo was a metal plate that was like graffiti, but it was a metal plate.
I don't know if that was in there.
But it was the drawstring. I think I also had a UNLV Running Rebels one at one point.
I used to wear a lot of UNLV stuff. I couldn't tell you anything about it. But yeah, these drawstring hats are one thing I think people need to bring back because they were so sweet. And I completely forgot about them until this morning. I flipped through here.
It's probably a health hazard with that big draping string there, though.
Yeah,
get caught
in running away and someone yanks you back. But yeah, my buddy Scott in high school, which I actually just ran into him and his wife a couple weeks ago, he had I'll never forget it, he had a Detroit Lions one because he was a big Barry Sanders guy. And I was like, oh my God, I want one of those hats so bad. But I could never, well, first off, my parents would never buy me one. Second thing was, I could never find them.
So that whole page is Chalkline, which if you look at that,
there's Zubaz in here too.
That could be a catalog advertisement now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Chalkline's coming back.
Yep.
And because you were on here, I had to mark this section.
Oh, look at that.
This is the Turtles section.
Yep.
You got the Wacky Pool, the Putt set.
Duelin' Dudes.
The Duelin' Dudes, which we had that, and we sold it to Michelle. She's on the episode of Toys That Made Us. Mm-hmm. She came into our shop, and she bought our boxed one.
Yep.
The day that a Turtles episode premiered on Netflix.
Yeah. She's also in the Paramount Plus Turtles documentary.
Is she? Yep. She was also on that MTV show about
being obsessed.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I marked this on here because I wanted to ask a question. Mm-hmm. And my question for you would be, if you had to get one of these vehicles sealed from Ninja Turtles now, like vintage, if someone's like, I will give you one of these.
Bubble Jet.
Okay, well, you jumped the gun there, kid.
I'm looking
Turtle Wagon, the Bubble Bomber, the where the heck's the Mutaski at? The Mutaski, the Muta Carrier, or the Muta Raft?
I think the Mutaski's that tiny little picture in the corner, isn't
that thing?
No, the one to the other side.
That one?
Yeah, or is that the Raft?
That's the Raft.
Okay.
So,
mine would be the Bubble Bomber because if you look at the rest of that page, they're kind of like, I mean, the Party Wagon's awesome, always, that's awesome, but the Bubble Bomber is like colorful, and I think that's what maybe drew me to Turtles and maybe draws a lot more people now into Turtles is like the not drab army thing, like it's opposite of what G.I. Joe would be.
Yeah.
You know, fantastical compared to realistic. And the Bubble Bomber is like walking the line between the two. Like it looks like a really cool jet until you shoot bubbles out the nose of it.
For me, I would choose the Mutations Muta Carrier because I was a big Desert Storm kid. I had the cards, I had the camo pants, I had the shirts. Then when the pants became too short, I turned them into shorts. I'm sure there's some people who listen to this that do not even know a single thing I'm talking about when it comes to Desert Storm.
Nope.
Which speaking
Storm
of
and Norman.
Yeah, and speaking of the Desert Storm cards, my buddy Dave just went to the National this weekend, and he sold because of me, he went and bought a sealed box of Desert Storm cards, and he got, as Charlie from the Ethan Page Toy Hunt vlog would say, he got the Saddam Hussein rookie card. Well, he got it graded, and he got a 10. Someone paid him $100 for it at the National, so he sold a Saddam Hussein rookie card.
Oh man, that National was something. I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was supposed to go, didn't get a chance to because I had too much other stuff going on.
It's almost too much.
That's what I've heard. I heard to get in was I heard to get in was just insane.
Yeah.
Like, I heard people were waiting like 2 hours plus.
Yep.
He's told me he got to go like right in.
No, I didn't.
I don't even know what day. I think he went on like Friday night.
I had to go 2 days. I don't know if you want a quick national story.
Yeah.
So I went up, and certain card companies do what they call wrapper redemptions. So if you buy a product that they identify for sale at the show, they have diamond distributors that sell that product. If you buy one from them, you can take it back to the manufacturer, in this case, Upper Deck, and they'll cut it open for you and give you a special pack that is a national exclusive pack, 3-4 cards. So I did that a few times. So I had like three packs of national packs. I didn't open them. I didn't know if I was going to open them. I was going to open the cards that I bought. I'm a hockey collector. Upper Deck's the main hockey, manufacturer. So I took them home. I took them home. Well, me and my son, we opened the cards that I bought, and he asked me why I wasn't going to open those, and I said, I'll open them. And I did, and there was a redemption winner card, instant winner, that had to be redeemed at the show by the close of the show.
So you had no choice but to go back.
I really didn't know what it was because it gave no indication of what you got. Like, it could have been a mug.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So, I'm from Butler. It's 2 hours to the airport in Cleveland where the IX Center is. It had to be worth admission, again, which wasn't cheap. It had to be worth the drive, and it had to be worth basically, a whole day. If it was a hat, I would have been mad. So I tried to get a hold of people to see if they would go ask. But the one dude finally responded and said, it's probably going to be worth it. They wouldn't do that if it wasn't worth it. Yeah. So I made my trip back up, and it was worth it. It was an autographed jersey, Upper Deck autographed jersey, just Upper Deck on the front, hockey, and it's the entire 2023 rookie class of the draft. So all the big names, are on that jersey. So definitely worth it. But if PSA, if you go to the National and you get redemption packs, open them while you're there. Save yourself the second trip.
Oh, that's funny. That's crazy though. You keeping it?
Yeah. If it was like football or baseball, I'd probably sell it. But I'm a hockey fan, and 3 or 4 of the guys on that jersey are future Hall of Famers. So, Connor Bedard was like the big thing that his autographs on there. Like, you look at last year's, the year before, probably not. But this year was one that the rookie class was something.
That's crazy. That's so, I shouldn't say I never get that lucky.
Yeah.
The first box of NFL cards I bought this year, I pulled a Kaboom and sold it for $800.
Yep.
So.
Yep. It's just a different form of gambling. At the end of the day,
it is. That's what toys are too. I consider. I consider exactly it all right. A gamble.
It's all a gamble.
Back to the Wish Book, which I do not know. You could order food from these, and there's a lot of things that you can buy your popcorn tins. My old job, that was always our Christmas bonus. They'd send us a tin of popcorn, and it was always stale.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no one wants
the three flavor.
Yes, always. I don't even know if people still get those anymore. But when I was flipping through this, I saw this, which I'm not even sure if they still make this stuff. Let alone the fact that it says low as $14.99 or low as $9.99. Like I said, I'm not sure if they still make this. And I like how it's right next to stained glass chandeliers. But... fruitcake.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
The reason why I marked this is because I had a Aunt Louise, who may have been one of the cheapest human beings alive. Every year for Christmas, our family gift was fruitcake. She goes, "Oh, now share it with everybody."
Yeah. Nobody shared it with anybody.
No, we never ate it. We threw it away every time.
Isn't there a comedian that says that the same amount of fruitcake that was made in the 80s is still in circulation today? They just keep on moving it from family to family.
Probably.
The regifting of the fruitcake.
But my question is for people, who actually ever ate this stuff, and whose idea was it to make fruitcake? And why was Sears selling it
via catalog. Yeah.
And that was our Wish Book segment. For this time around. Growing up, everyone had their toy that they wanted that they never got. Mm-hmm. What was your toy that got away?
Oh, man. Got away then?
Yes. Yes, the one that got away when you were a kid and you were just like, I want that so bad, you never got it.
It's a tough one.
I'll let you think about it while I give mine.
Okay.
Because I always had random ones. Because there's certain things I always put on Christmas lists, birthday lists, whatever, and I never got them. My Pet Monster.
Oh.
One. Literally, I think I asked for one every single year and never got that. The one thing, too, I noticed in the Wish Book, I always ask for it, and I don't know why. When I saw it, I was like, why did I always ask for that? The rock tumbler. That would turn your rocks into jewels or gemstones, or I don't know what the heck. I honestly don't know what the world it did other than tumble rocks. And they put it in every Wish Book, and I was always like, I'd circle it and write it down.
Yeah,
never got it.
Never got it.
But I always wanted the My Pet Monster. Never, ever got close to ever getting one. Not even like a knockoff. Not even the pillow that they released.
And there were so
nothing.
many knockoffs too.
Yeah. Never.
So I guess mine's like a two-parter. So do you remember Pound Puppies?
Yes.
I got a Pound Puppy, but my mom made it. So I never got a real Pound Puppy. I loved the one she made me, but I never got a real one. But the one, and I'm not a G.I. Joe collector. I'm not, but I wanted the Tiger Rat. I remember my friend having it, and I just thought it was so cool. Like, I didn't want anything else. I didn't want figures or anything like that. I just thought the way it was painted, the way the wings shifted, I just wanted it. So that one got away. I had asked for that one a couple of times. But the Pound Puppy is the one that I can remember specifically asking for and not getting. In theory, I didn't get it. My mom made one from, a Joanne Fabrics pattern that was back in the day. I think my sisters got the same thing with Cabbage Patch dolls, because you could buy like the kit.
Okay.
And my mom made that for them too, rather than buying one, because I think they each wanted one, and it was like, how could they weren't going to get two. So
yeah, especially because that's probably around the time when they first came out, and there was like you can go YouTube it right now of the fist fights that happened when Cabbage Patch Kids came out.
Yep, that was really like one of the first runs on toys.
Yeah, because then years later it was stuff like Tickle Me Elmos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's always this
Turbo Man.
I wish it was Turbo Man. We still need a booster doll.
Yep.
What toy line as a kid did you like so much, but like now, as you can see, like they're resurrecting like Turtles again, Masters of the Universe again. They just keep doing the same things over and over again. Now they're like freaking doing Turtle He-Man mashups. They're doing Stranger Things Turtles. They're doing, I don't know, too much.
Right.
They know that adults are what's keeping toys alive right now, because they're tugging at our heartstrings with nostalgia.
Right.
So what toy line do you remember as a kid that you liked so much that isn't back out today? Last week, Tony said he wanted to bring back Jason the Wheeled Warriors. So what toy line would you want to bring back?
They're doing it, kind of. It's Cowboys of Moo Mesa. I just think those were like the knockoff Turtles. Not
the knockoffs.
It was like...
They're like the biker mice of Mars of the farm.
I think, I'm a turtle guy, obviously. But everything spun from there. You had Street Sharks. You had the mutant craze. And at the end of that mutant craze was the Cowboys of Moo Mesa. And my family, we didn't grow up on a farm, but my uncle had a farm. Like, we were always helping on the farm, and it was like, oh, this is a mutant, but it's also a cow that's familiar. warthogs and rhinoceroses and things like that. It was, we knew what that was, but
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a cow. But I caught wind and I saw some images that they're redoing a couple of the figures of that. Greatest theme music for a television show, in my opinion, of all time. But I'd like to see, I guess you could say I'd like to see more characters in that universe be, created and made. I just think it stopped short because of Mighty Morphin's Power Rangers, but I'm not going to get into that. That's just a pet peeve.
So, Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Nacelle is putting them out. Because they also did RoboForce, which I don't know if people remember RoboForce, but they were pretty much trash cans of arms.
Okay.
And had vehicles. They were like not very good toys, literally at all.
Yeah.
The Cowboys of Moo Mesa figures they're releasing are not like the Street Sharks reissues, which the Street Sharks reissues, all they really did was add like you can bend their arms.
Okay.
Like they have elbow joints now.
Okay.
But they look like the same packaging. The Moo Mesa figures are not short, stubby, like
one position things.
They're like I don't know. They're probably gonna be like 6 or 7 inches tall.
Like Super 7, like really articulated.
Yeah.
I think I saw the one photo, but it was just package art.
To me, they don't look right. Because when I think of Cowboys of Moo Mesa, I think of like stuff the size of turtles. Because everyone went with, what was it, like the 4-inch?
Right.
3/4 inch. So that's when I see those, I'm just like, no, that's not.
No. Yeah, like I said, I think there was much more you could have done with that whole universe. You could have had, we're just talking about mashups. You could have had mashups where they met the turtles. Obviously there were two competing toy companies there.
Yeah, and
creators.
Cowboys of Moo Mesa also, they only had what, 1 or 2 vehicles?
Two.
2
vehicles. The Iron Horse, maybe just one. Yeah, it's just one. The Iron Horse.
Yeah, so basically, Cowboys of Moo Mesa. If you would go back and do what Playmates did, that's who made them, right? Playmates.
Yeah.
Because that's who did Turtles.
Yep.
And so basically, there's a lot of opportunity there if you went back and just did the old school scale of them, a playset, characters that they never made, more vehicles. Like, the possibilities are endless. Now you're introducing a new size, and that just, to me, it just throws off everything. And, like, there's some kids now who get, like, the newer Masters of the Universe toys. They're in the same scale. So, you can play with them with your Castle Grayskull, everything else. But, yeah, the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, I would love to see them bring it back in, like I said, the smaller scale. But these bigger ones, I'm just, right when I saw that, I was like,
no.
No, thank you. Nope.
I think honorable mention probably to what Centurions and Brave Star. Those are very similar size, and I mean, a Native American
Space cowboy.
Yeah, space cowboy. That's awesome.
Like, Brave Star, once again, it didn't have that many figures. It only had the Fort Curium playset, had Stagecoach, you had 3030 the horse. Tex Hex,
and his mechanical riding,
the Skull Walker, and then but Sandstorm, Handlebar. How am I remembering all this? Me. And there's the one guy. He looks like Tex Hex, but he's not Tex Hex.
Yeah,
I forget his name.
I forget his name too.
He is stupid rare. Yeah. But like, what's that line didn't have? Like I said, and that one little guy had like a vehicle.
Oh yeah. He had like looked like a little go-kart, like Mario Kart. Yeah.
But Brave Star, what killed Brave Star, I believe, was the fact it was the size.
Oh yeah. Yep. Centurions probably too, because they're right in that same.
And Centurions, there's some Centurions that are crazy money.
Yep. All little accessories and
And then there's a company that actually started doing like Centurions, but they're not called Centurions. I don't even know what they're called.
I think I did hear about that. It's not like they're not licensed.
Yeah, they're not licensed, so you can't call them Centurions. They probably call them Plantarians or something like that. So, growing up, do you have a best toy memory of like the toy that takes you back and you can like imagine exactly the time. Besides the toy that you stole, the Raphael that you stole from good old Jack. Do you remember the time and place where you either bought a toy for the first time, and you're just like, you can close your eyes and you can just like imagine it perfectly?
Yeah, probably my G1 Optimus Prime, trailer. I remember Clearview Mall was KB Toys. It was the second aisle. That was the Transformer aisle, and it was it's almost weird because they remade it like a few years ago, and it was the same packaging and things, and it was like you're walking down the toy aisle and there it was. I'm walking there with my son, and I remember like it was like instant like warp zone right back to KB Toys in that aisle, because I remember that one. And I wasn't a huge Transformer person, but I think everybody was an Optimus Prime person at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the deal. My grandfather was he sold semi-trucks what he did. He's a salesman for semi-trucks. And it was like, that's a superhero. It's a semi-truck that turns into a robot. I'm like, that is amazing. And I remember buying it. And, I think I was able to sell it to my parents because of it was a truck. And that's what Grandpa did, my pap. But, yeah, I remember that one. And it's funny because, the store space is still there in the mall. You can walk by it and see it and almost be like, I remember. I remember a lot, but that one was probably the first one that like instantly takes me back.
I always have. There's always certain toys that I think of, and I remember exactly where I was when I got it or whatever else. Mm-hmm. So like, I have so many, and because I host this show, I have to save all of them. And like, I can't blurt them all out every show.
Yeah.
The one I'll remember is growing up. I grew up in Southington. I don't remember when I got them, but I can tell you exactly which ones they were. They were the rubber ones. It was Mad Balls. I had Arg and Hornhead. They were the rubber ones because a lot of people don't know the rubber ones were the first ones they did. Then it cost too much, so then they switched to foam. I was bouncing them off my wall playing a game called Can I Get It Into the Vent? Because my dad did not put my vent on the wall. Yeah, well, my uncle lives there now, and Hornhead and Arg are still living in those vents because I got them both in there.
So you won the game.
I won the game, but I lost at life.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep, sometimes.
Because I've never ever found the rubber ones ever again.
Can't win for losing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you mentioned the Clearview Mall, which that is where the Butler Area Toy Show happens.
It is.
Which is also known as Bats.
Yep.
As your shirt.
Yep. Which
some people don't. Bats is also a character from G.I. Joe. He's with Cobra. So you want to talk to us a little bit about the Butler Area Toy Show?
Yeah. So me and my two co-promoters, Greg and Ken, started. We're KRG Entertainment. Ken, Rob, Greg. A few years ago, we were talking. We had a Facebook group, the Butler Area Toy Collective, which is long since dead. But a lot of people had talked about, getting together, kind of hanging out, comparing toys, things like that, and. I thought it was a neat idea, but where do you do that? How do you, you don't know all these people. You're just social media friends or whatever with the same common interests. So, I had been tagging along, helping you out at Toy-Hio, and one of those things was like, hey, maybe we should try this. There's nothing really between Pittsburgh and here, that kind of captures those folks who might have stuff that's maybe they can't drive an hour, maybe they just take the bus. So we decided to, put our heads together and see if we couldn't pull something like that together. And I think it's important when you're promoting shows to work with other show promoters. So we talked to you, we talked to Bobby and those guys down at D&E. We don't want to flood the market. Kind of that idea. We have different locations, but there's only so many days in the year. That type of stuff. So. We kind of all talked. I think you and I talked, and Bobby and I talked, and we kind of found some dates on the calendar where we'd give it a shot. And we started out in a very small little hall that is currently under liquidation right now. So I'm glad we kind of got out of there. But we put our heads together, and it was really kind of guerrilla. Started out from just word of mouth and social media and yard signs and flyers, and just really hit it that way. And we're 5 shows in now. We just finished our 5th one in July. We're gonna have number 6 in January. This is new artwork. We're all Ramones fans, so there's always some sort of Ramones theme in our artwork, and there's a Rocket to Russia cover for any Ramones fans out there. But it's growing. Obviously, summer shows are down, winter shows are more popular, but we see an increase in attendance every time. We each have our own roles to play. Ken is Ken's definitely a front of house, day of show kind of guy. It's very very coordinated individual. So I kind of just make sure we get the vendors and keep the vendors happy, that sort of stuff. And Greg is our in-house entertainment guy. Greg's very good at that type of stuff. He can MC, voiceover, cosplay artist, that kind of thing. So Greg's in charge of entertainment. I guess is the best way to put it. And I wouldn't be able to do it without those 2 guys, and I know that they feel the same way. I don't know how you do to Ohio on your own. I mean, it's stressful with 3 people bearing the shoulders. So kudos to you for sure.
Thanks. You can notice all the gray hairs. You have way less gray than me.
Yeah, and I still got quite a few from doing it with partners.
So, with the Butler Area Toy Show, every show that happens, there's a learning process. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think it's a if you build it, they will come sort of thing, and that's not the case. So with your learning process of you going through this with Ken and Greg, what do you think has been your guys' biggest hurdle to get over?
Venue.
Absolutely
100% venue. I mean, we called ourselves the Butler Area Toy Show very specifically. One, it spells out bats. And I think that was a happy accident. But we don't really have a lot of places where you can. I mean, we need a minimum of 10,000 square feet at minimum.
Yeah.
To do a show that's worth coming to. So our first venue was not that. Between not having the size and not having the parking, we had to go somewhere else. I mean, even to this point, we have the parking now, and we have a little bit of size, but it's very convoluted. We take up a few storefronts and center court, in a mall that has the space. But the mall, if they had their way, they'd fill the space, and then we'd be done. We wouldn't have a space. So the venue is something that we continuously have to roll with. Like, we know in January we'll be back to Clearview Mall, but if for summer next year, we don't know yet. So that's the biggest question mark, and we're always on the lookout. We've had meetings with other places. Places want us to come, but they can't facilitate. So, and then there's always cost. Like, if you want to go big, you're going to have to pay big money. And then, it's not our 9 to 5, by any stretch of the imagination. So we're not going to put on a subpar performance as far as a show. We want people to come. We don't want them to be disappointed. But we also don't want to let it affect our lives in that aspect as well. So the venue's rough for sure.
Yeah, I got you. Trust me. I've had my fair share. Like, we've been at the Metroplex now for... Yesterday was the 7-year anniversary of Toy Ohio. So our first 2 shows were, we did a fire hall, which they lied to me about the amount of tables they had. They told me they had 30. I got there and there was 12.
Oh boy.
And I go, what happened to the rest of them? She goes, I think someone may have borrowed them. I go, how do you not know?
Yeah, you know you have them.
So I'm like, so then I'm scrambling.
Yep.
And I was scrambling to find tables, and then I found tables. And the whole thing was, I told Tom, like, listen, you got to get these tables returned because our show was on a Saturday. That Sunday, I was leaving to head for New Jersey because I was filming for Comic Book Men.
Okay.
So Tom and his dad, I go, you have to make sure you get these tables back. I said, because they're under my name.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to pay any more fees for these stinking things. So we moved from the fire hall because of that whole hoopla. And then we ended up going to a place in Girard. I won't name them. The lady was such a pain in the ass. It wasn't even funny. She got mad at us when I went on the news came. I went on the news saying that we were moving to the Metroplex, and she was furious and said that I didn't okay it with her. I said, this ain't even your event.
Yeah, right, yep.
I'm like, and all you've done is complain that you're too busy. So, I mean, I understand 100% about venues. That's people always ask us to move, and I'm like, if we move, literally every single cost goes up.
Yep.
People don't understand that. Like every cost goes up. Our admission early bird's $10, general admission's $5. If we moved to our next option, it would be like general admission is now like $20. Mm-hmm. And early bird would be $30.
Yeah.
And then you also have to pay for parking.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And then vendor tables go from being like, I think our vendor tables now are $90. Our vendor tables then go to $275.
You turn into other pop culture cons that are around the area.
Yeah. And I'm like, no. I stick to my guns, and I'm good where I'm at. I have dates. I can ask them, what's my date in 2029? And they'll go, this is what you have. They have us. We're the only show that is constantly has our dates booked ASAP through them. They book all of our dates for us. I don't have to worry about it. I just ask and they tell me the date.
Yep.
Those are the kind of venues that make your life a dream. I know you guys have gone through a bunch of crap with venues. I know D&E has gone through some issues, like the one summer show they had where the people didn't have the air conditioning on and said it wouldn't work.
Yep.
And it was like I went outside and just laid in the grass and like because I was like dying.
Yep. But we had the same problem this July. We had one storefront that was nice and cool, and the other one where the air conditioner was like the little engine that could. It was really struggling, but and
of course that was the busier room.
That was the busier room, but yeah, that's the kind of other stuff that you have to overcome. Is we're not maintenance guys. We can't. Something breaks, toilet breaks, something like that. We're at the mercy of the venue, and the venue we have now at the mall is great. But again, like I said, if they rent to a tenant who's going to be there constantly, a storefront goes in, we're going to have to shift quickly. So
speaking of the mall and your show, in your opinion and in your mind, what makes your show? Well, I shouldn't say your show. Your guys' show. What makes the Butler Area Toy Show stand out compared to other shows?
I think it's really the location. And really one of the reasons why we wanted to do it there was because there's a lot, and you've done the show. You know what Butler is. Unfortunately, Butler's a little bit more famous now than it was about 3 months ago for stuff we won't talk about, but I'm sure you can Google it if you don't already know what it is. But there's folks in Butler who never leave Butler. They just don't. So that means to me two things. One, they can come out and get what they're, in a one-stop shop, what they're looking for. And two, it can connect you, Rick, and Time Capsule as a vendor to somebody who is not going to bring you their stuff. They just have it in a shed, and they'll tell you about it. And, you make those connections. And, I think that's important, too, because our first show, we had so many people reach out to say, can I bring this stuff there to sell it to the vendors? And we said they'd be happy to talk about it, but I would avoid bringing it. All these people bring totes and totes of toys. But we also had people who set up as vendors for the first time and, sold off a collection and then never did it again. So I would think, if I had to point to one thing, I think that we're very... all three of us are extremely proud of where we're from, where we live. So that's why it's important for us to, have it there, and it stands out. It's a little bit between each. I know we're not going to pull the people from the Cleveland area that you would, and we're not going to pull the people from South Pittsburgh that Toy Palooza would. But we're kind of right smack in the middle, and starting to make our own fingerprint, so to speak.
Yeah. The one thing that always stuck out to me about your show, since you guys, well, when you guys first started, what stuck out about your show was the pepperoni bowls.
Yeah.
That they served there. They were very good. And the first show you also had there, as I told you this, I'm like, if you know me, you know I'm blunt, I'm honest, I don't hold back. I say how I feel, whatever. I told you, I go, these people of Butler, it's like the show Under the Dome. They don't leave the dome. I had people I had a dude walk up to me with all his Joe stuff, your first show. And he goes, showing to me, oh, you're looking to sell it? No, I'm brought it to show people.
Yep.
I'm like, oh.
Thanks.
So you brought these 3 giant box Joe vehicles just to show people?
Showing off.
But then there was a guy at that show who showed up with like 2 or 3 totes full of stuff. And I was the only one willing to buy it from him. I bought it from him. Then every show after that, he would bring me a tote of stuff to buy. This last one, I didn't see him. I had to skedaddle early because I
ran out of stuff.
I had to go. I had to go.
Yeah, you had a busy day.
I had a busy day, and but so I didn't see him this last time. But he would always bring me. He wouldn't go. He would not go to anyone else at that point. It was always just he would go directly to me and go, "Hey, you bought stuff from me before. Do you remember me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you." And he'd always bring me a tote of just random whatever he had that he wanted to sell, and I'd always buy it. But the one thing that reminds me of your current show is the tagline. I'm a big tagline person, and I love the tagline of we're the toy show in the mall.
Yep. Yep, that was a good one. I mean, we really leaned into being in the mall to kind of give folks that sense of nostalgia when you would go to the mall to shop. There's still shopping plazas now, but you go to your dedicated store. You don't just peruse and hang out and I can remember where everything was in that mall in its fullness, in its heyday. You had your National Record Marts and your Camelots and KB Toys, and there was a Hills on the end, and all that kind of stuff. And we really leaned into. I found old YouTube footage of like Black Friday at a KB, and I used it as a commercial for YouTube when we moved into the mall and things like that. So yeah, it's neat. It also has its other, people were like, oh, nothing's ever in the mall anymore. Well, it's not that the mall doesn't want people in there. It's just that
times have changed.
Times have changed. It's,
malls used to be, when you would go to the mall, it was an experience.
Yes.
That's the one thing too about nostalgia. It's all about experiences, and that goes back to like when we were kids. It was all an experience. The Eastwood Mall, it had fountains.
Yeah.
It had dim lights. It was like the cool place to be.
Yep.
So like if we were going like school clothes shopping and I got to go to the mall, I was so ecstatic because that was like literally the only time we ever went to the mall.
Right.
Was that one time a year to go school clothes shopping. But we never got clothes for the mall because my mom complained they cost too much money. So we'd have to go to Ames and we had to go to Hills to where I get my shirts for like $5.97 or whatever it is. I get my Voigt shoes because she wouldn't buy me Reebok pumps.
You got to see all the cool stuff at the mall first, and then
and then you go, well, I want that. Well, Hills has it cheaper.
Yep.
And you go, you're like, this is not even Nike. That's it was like I said, the mall was a different. The whole mall, the scene was totally different back then.
Yep.
And your show, it's like slowly, it's like trying to bring back, like, the fact that going to the mall was an event.
Mm-hmm.
And having your show in the mall helps it be an event.
Yep.
Like, you're like, oh, man. Like, you walk in to the Clearview Mall, and yeah, it's a dead mall. But, like, you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, you can feel, like, it's like one of those things, like, you can feel, like, the nostalgia from, like, you're walking through, and you can even see the empty spot in the mall, and you can still point at it and go, holy crap, that used to be whatever, Waves Music.
Yep.
Or, oh, my God, I remember when this was Pretzel Time.
Yep. It's funny because the center court that we've migrated into, was just that. It was like stairs down into like the fake plants and the fountain and the wishing wells and things like that. And now it's just leveled off and it's just an open space, which is great because we need it. But you can remember it back then. It was like, oh, you would go down and sit in a little park in the mall. Why? Because you just went to the mall. You hung out at the mall. You didn't get kicked out of the mall for just loitering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a whole movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, based upon hanging out in the mall.
Mall rats.
Yep. So, but yeah, the our show. You mentioned the food. We're struggling with that now. We've overwhelmed a couple of food vendors that are actually in the Clearview Mall.
You made a post about the pizza place in the mall. And I even commented, like, I hope they're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they are. They were not.
Like, nobody ever believes us.
That's how it was in Toy-Hio. We told, like, the one time we were able to get Chick-fil-A, and I said, don't, like, you better be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
They sold 50 sandwiches in 10 minutes.
Yep.
They sold 150 sandwiches in 30 minutes. Packed up and left.
Yep.
Because they said we can't keep up.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That
pizza place. I went down there with my buddy Greg twice. Both times they didn't have any pizza, and they were trying to like, we got pulled pork sandwiches. I'm like, you're a pizza place. No one wants pulled pork sandwiches. People want pizza.
They were sweating by the end of the day. That's for sure. They called in, but I think by mid-afternoon they called in like other people to help them. It was about the time you had to mosey on that we got a new waiter, a second order runner, and things like that. So at least they shifted on the fly to trying to accommodate.
Yeah. So what are you currently collecting? Besides, we know you're collecting turtles.
Yeah, I'll collect turtles until there's no more turtle stuff to collect. Right now, I'm starting to rebuild my real Ghostbusters. But I'm like, when you're a collector, and I'm sure you know this, and I'm sure anybody out there who knows it, like, you put these little stipulations in your mind. Like, I'm going to do in package only, or even get it a little even more eccentric. Like, I'll collect real Ghostbusters, but I won't pay more than $10 for anything. Like, whatever. There'll be a few exceptions. Your play sets will be bigger than that. But we're talking digging through dig bins or finding parts and pieces to put something together. So that's how I'm doing it now. And that's part of the fun to me. Because you can go out, like, you can just drop a bunch of money and get everything you want. I mean, real Ghostbusters, there's some rare ones, but they're not impossible to find. So you complete it and be done. So to me, it's more about the ride. So I've put that stipulation on myself to buy in the dig bin or do trades or something like that, to where you're not just opening up or using a card and just buying the collection, because you'll be done and then be on to the next thing and you won't have space for it anymore. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's all about space. When you've been regulated to the basement and that's where everything is, and then and been told that you will not bring that upstairs, you gotta consolidate. So
yeah, I have one room and it's
full.
It's full. It's a mess.
Yep.
Like, there's not even just my toys in there anymore. There's other random stuff of the house. So I can't even go in there and enjoy myself. I just open the door and just shake my head and close it. Like,
I used to have,
I don't want to look at this.
Boxed wrestling elites hung up everywhere. They're all gone. Like, I put the ones that I have autographed, they're in the wall of the laundry room. It's not something that I'd be like, hey, come check out my laundry room and all my autographed figures. They're just in there so I can see them. But yeah, you run out of real estate real fast. So
100%. So, grails. Is there a grail you're currently looking for? And there is a grail that you brought with you.
Yes.
So what is the grail? Do you have a current grail that you're hunting?
So current grails that I'm hunting are obviously the big dog turtles. Your undercover turtles with the soft goods. Some of those more elusive things. So I wouldn't say that there's one specific one. It's just a matter of finding what's missing from the collection because I'm one of the lucky folks to say that I have my grails. I have 2 of them. One I brought and one I didn't bring, but I talked about it earlier, was the Skull Bandit gay toys plastic race car and car hauler. That Christmas that we were talking about earlier, I have a picture of my mom, and for some reason my mom's in like a candy striper shirt, those little red pinstripe things. I asked her about it. She says, I don't know, it was a style. She wasn't a candy stripe. But there was me holding the in the box, holding that race car and car hauler. And we're talking, like I said, it's a toy, and it's covered with Skull Bandit chewing tobacco advertisements. They don't make that kind of stuff anymore. So I spent a long time hunting that in the package so I could recreate that photo with my mom. And I was able to find it through eBay. It actually wasn't that far away. It was in Erie, PA. And I was very reluctant about shipping it, so I actually talked to the seller and said, can I come meet you? And he wouldn't do it. And I was very nervous as that shipping process went. So I have that one at home, which has nothing to do with any of the lines that I collect, or you could go out and collect again, but it's more for me. It's probably not even worth that much money. It's just worth it to me. So that's a grail that I have that I did not bring. And then I have one that I did bring.
And the grail you brought, I requested that you bring it,
yes.
And you thought I was lying. But there's a reason why I wanted you to bring this certain grail. So, the one, we'll say he's probably the most sought after Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
He is Scratch the Cat. And the reason why I asked you to bring it is because if we just talked about it, no one would believe us.
Mm-hmm, right. I get that a lot.
And this one has the certificate of authenticity showing that it came from the actual Mirage Studios, and it's signed by
Peter Laird, Gary Richardson, and Dan Berger.
There you go. Can you hold it up? And It's actually graded.
So we'll get it on camera the best we can. So
there you go.
But
there you go.
There you go.
So it got graded at an 80.
So it's graded in an 80. So this is actually the AFA grade is on this side. It's in its case, and then the previous owner had the case encased. So it's not, this whole thing isn't graded. The figure is graded in 80, and then it's an insert inside the actual case so he could highlight the certificate. So the certificate is a Mirage Studio certifies that the toy is originally from the Mirage Studios archive, Scratch 1993, signed by Peter Laird, TMNT co-creator, him and Kevin Eastman, who was gone when this was, Gary Richardson, and then Dan Berger, all in the, signed for this one. So,
and then before we started recording, you told myself and our producer BJ what you've been offered for this.
Yes, I've been offered $11,000 for this.
And he said,
"Yep,
no."
Yep.
And I will tell you this: he did not pay $11,000.
No, no, I did
but
not.
it has gone up drastically since then. So basically, that could be probably the rarest Scratch.
Yes. Yeah, that's like I said when we were coming in, I haven't had this out of the house since I got it,
which is about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago. So I had an opportunity to get this, and I did not pass up on it. It was a very strenuous transaction because it was a online auction, but it had to be shipped, and that was the longest shipping time I've ever experienced in my life. It came very well wrapped. The person who shipped it, we were in constant communication. Even he was nervous about the shipping of it. So, but it now rests in my basement with the in the Western Pennsylvania Turtle Museum. So.
So, with that being said, the show will be coming to an end. You want to give everyone the details about the next Butler Area Toy Show?
Yeah, so we returned to Clearview Mall, Butler, Pennsylvania, on January 25th, 2025. We're just two shows a year. We do January, July. The next one will be that after Christmas. So we give about a month break between what you get under the tree and what you didn't get. So if you don't get it, come find it with us, the Clearview Mall, Butler, PA.
I suggest coming to the show. It's fun. Like I said, it's just when you walk into the mall, you just have that sense of like nostalgia from the mall itself. So I want to thank Rob for coming in, chatting, discussing some childhood with us and some nostalgia. Don't forget to always check out Time Capsule Toys, located in non-scenic Niles, Ohio, in the Dallas Park Plaza. And Toy Ohio returns October 12th. With Wardlow, and I should be announcing 2 more guests here soon once the flyer gets done. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment to our videos, but not also our videos, but to anything you see and like on the Youngstown Studio account. So thank you all for tuning in and checking us out.